High heels, which are regarded as the pinnacle of sensuality and femininity, have a long history with both women and men and may be found as far back as Persia in the 10th century. High heels have evolved into the stylish footwear we see today, and are far more than simply a trend. Let's go and find out how it all started. Beginning. The 10th century in ancient Persia is where the first instance of high heels is recorded. And the first high heels were worn with honor by the Persian soldiers. Persian cavalry and heels. The Persian cavalry formed an important part of the army. The horseback soldiers would stand up in their saddles to fire a bow while wearing heels. They worked out that a longer heel helped their feet stay in the stirrups when they stood up to fire the bows. The same principle is used today with riding boots having a block heel. Making its way to Europe. With the Persians having strong trading links with Europe, it's likely that high-heeled shoes made their way to the continent via trade channels. By the 1400s, women, particularly in Spain and Venice, wore high platform shoes called chopines. Chopines. Originally worn over the normal shoe to avoid the filth that littered medieval streets, chopines became a fashion statement amongst courtesans and noblewomen. The Venetian government eventually passed a law that limited the height to 3 inches (7 centimeters), but most ignored it. The height of fashion. By the 1700s, high-heeled shoes had taken on a similar shape to today's heels. The toes were lower to the ground and the heel was raised by a block or thinner heel. Men's fashion. During this period, it was men who donned these luxurious new shoes, which became a status symbol. For these reasons, they were worn mostly by kings, princes, and noblemen. Royal shoe. King Louis XIV of France was particularly fond of high-heeled shoes and believed that the higher the heel the more powerful the wearer. Satin and velvet were some of the more used luxury materials. Luxury in color. In many paintings of Louis XIV, he can be seen showing off his lavish shoes, often painted in red or royal blue to further emphasize their luxury. Trendsetters. The royals at the time were trendsetters amongst commoners who tried to imitate their style. This ultimately led to rules on the height of the heel based on social classes. Only royals were allowed to wear the highest heels of 2 inches (6 centimeters). Female courtesans. During the 17th century, female courtesans had also begun to wear high-heeled shoes. Due to their close relationship with the royals, they could typically do things that their common counterparts couldn't. Distinction. As the 18th century rolled around, common women began adopting the style. However, noblemen wanted some distinction to protect their style, so women's heeled shoes had thinner heels, making them more difficult and uncomfortable to wear. Gender switch. Worn for status and fashion, rather than utilitarian reasons, heels started to be seen as irrational by men. As a result, they stopped wearing them, making them the domain of women. Revolution. The French Revolution, 1789–1799, was also a major trigger in the change of fashion. Heels had long been associated with power, pride, and royalty. And, naturally, when the revolution began, nobody wanted to be associated with royalty anymore. Punishment. During the same period, in countries like Britain and the US, high heels and other cosmetic products were deemed unprincipled. Women caught wearing heels could even be treated to the same punishment as women accused of being witches. Revival. As the 20th century arrived, high heels went through a revival, initially reappearing about 2 inches (6 centimeters) in height. As the century progressed, more and more heel designs were patented, and heels became a staple of luxury fashion, but strictly for women. Production. The invention and mass production of the sewing machine meant that heels could also be mass-produced. This lowered the cost considerably, and brought high heels to the masses. New times. The first half of the 20th century saw 2 world wars consume most of the globe. During these times, heel makers were subject to rationing, as materials like leather and rubber were no longer available. Instead, cheaper materials like cork and wood were used for soles. Heels resisted. Despite the difficulties faced by heel makers in the production lines, the demand for them did not slow down. By this time, women wore heels to accentuate their bodies. The impact. Making legs look longer and muscles toned, heels were considering feminine and flattering. And with film and photography showing actresses strutting around in sexy heels, women around the world wanted their own pair. Marilyn Monroe shoes. Actresses like Marilyn Monroe helped convince women that high, often stiletto-heeled shoes, were the quickest way to a man's heart and the must-have accessory. A timeless piece. The popularity of stilettos and other thin high-heeled shoes is largely responsible for the shoe's continued presence today. Classic model. For decades, heels have been worn by women for every occasion imaginable, be it weddings, birthdays, or running out for errands. New perception. Many women even began to wear heels at work. However, as the 20th century evolved, so did the perception of heels. New times. In the 70s, second-wave feminism helped liberate women and create a new perception of women's roles in society. The idea of wearing heels to please men became incredibly unpopular, and high heels suffered a small dip in popularity. Back to platforms. The 70s also saw the return of platforms, not only out on the streets, but also on the dance floor. It was also a trend now again worn by both women and men. Fashion. Heels were revived in a new form in the 80s, when fun and different colored designs started appearing on the runway and on celebrities' feet. Heels had become a fashion statement. The rise of designers. The 90s saw the rise of a number of all-time favorite high-heel designers appearing on the scene. Names like Christiane Louboutin and Stuart Weitzman were, and continue to be, the elite of fashion. Today life. As society evolved, so did the reasoning and cultural implications of these shoes. Worn both for cosmetic purposes, i.e. to look taller, have longer legs, or to make a fashion statement, high heels have remained with us for centuries. A style. With more people experimenting with dressing outside of gender norms, high heels could become a shoe for all genders. For many, they already are. And with the variety of styles available, there's a pair for everyone. National High Heels Day falls on May 20th. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe for more information. Please do support us.